Hello and welcome to episode 42 of the Clutch Report with Shivers and Kadak. This episode is a Manchester United special as we preview the upcoming season. And we have a special guest, Shanmukh, who's an artist, lifelong Manchester United fan. He's also been featured on the Premier League page, Manchester United's page. Shanmukh, welcome. And tell us some little bit about your story. How did this love for art and Manchester United sort of merge together?
No, thank you, Shiv. Good to be here. Good to chat with you both. Basically, I've been a United fan as long as I remember. The passion with art and Man United probably started in lockdown. When I had all the time in the world, I was back home in Mumbai, and I didn't know what to do. And I always wanted to get back to sketching. I used to like drawing as a kid, and I used to draw portraits here and there. Of like footballers or random people. I remember drawing like one of Martial, one of Mkhitaryan back in the day. So I just picked it up back in COVID, and when I just started drawing portraits, it became sort of a natural extension of drawing Man United players. So I remember drawing Bruno, Beckham, Cantona, and a few others, which I started sharing about it on Instagram and Twitter. And I would meet, and this was during lockdown, so no one's getting out. And just sharing it on the socials helped me connect with fans all over the world, United fans in India and abroad. And the club also, got to see, they saw my work and shared my work. I think the first time was in 2020. So that was like a flywheel. I used to enjoy drawing and then I used to start more drawing more and more United players, and then the club would share it, and more people would see it. So that's how it all began. And I was just doing it on the side. I started selling my artwork in 21, and I was working as an engineer for like the past 4 or 5 years and doing art on the side on weekends and evenings. So it was always like a thing on the side, and eventually it got to a point where I could, dedicate myself completely full time into the art. So that's what I've been doing for the last 1 year or so.
Wow,
Yeah, that's a TLDR
nice.
of how I got here.
Wow, that is special, man. Also, is there like a portrait which you have which is close to your heart related to United?
Yeah, I mean, I would have to say I did one of Bruno lifting the FA Cup. That was in 24, I think, 24 or 23. 24, I think. That was insane. I mean, I've been a Bruno fan like since he joined, since day
Hmm.
one, and watching him lift like a trophy. I
Yeah.
know it's not the Premier League or a Champions League, but just watching him lift that trophy gave me goosebumps. I got emotional. I was in Chennai, Rohit, watching the game with. I think the Chennai Supporters Club had done a screening, so I was there.
Uh-huh.
So I watched the game with them, and it was crazy. I knew the moment I got back to my home, I started the drawing and completed it. But more importantly, United ended up
Wow.
sharing that artwork, and Bruno commented on one of my reels. He saw it and he really liked it. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah. I actually kept a print for myself as well in my home. So that will always be like a special artwork because it's Bruno and because of the recognition and the moment itself. So that was like really special.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Bruno Fernandez has acknowledged your work, man. I don't think there's a better feeling, in that sense.
I
But what was
know.
the first feeling like when that first acknowledgement came from United? Like you said in 2020, right? Like when that
Yeah,
happened, like where were you? What was that feeling like?
yeah. It was actually I was in Mumbai, and the story is I don't know if you remember. United used to do a podcast. This was Sam Homewood, Helen
Hmm.
Evans, David May. They used to bring on players or
Right,
just
right.
talk about players. This was in 2020. So I used to listen to that podcast when I would draw through the night, right? And one day I just thought they had like an fan email that they would read at the end of each episode. So I just sent them some of my artwork, said thank you for what you're doing. I love these episodes, and this is what I've been working on as I listen to your show. And the next day, they reached out to me, and this was at the time, the Man United global social media head, Nick Seekman, I think, back then, he
Okay.
dropped me an email saying, "This is amazing. We would love to feature your work." And then they spoke about me on the next podcast at the end, and they
Wow.
linked my socials on their podcast channel, and This was like 6 years back now, and I still remember that was the first recognition I got, and I was just starting to share my artwork on social media, and immediately having the club recognize you was insane. Like I still think about that day, and that was one of the happiest moments
Yeah.
because I mean, having the club acknowledge you as a fan. I mean, you're just one fan in millions of fans around the world. Having the club reach out and acknowledge your work and share it is like unbelievable feeling. So definitely one of the highlights, having, the first time they recognized my artwork and uh, knew me as a fan who does this as a hobby. That was unbelievable, man, honestly.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's crazy. And now you've basically taken this over full time. So, I mean, props to you. It's amazing that you've gone from an engineer to being like a full time artist now. And I
Yeah,
mean, your work is phenomenal. We'll, of course, link your social media as well in the links below so people can take a look and hopefully buy some as well. But let's get into the season preview now. To start off with, what have you made of preseason so far? Of course, we've had a few good games. The game against Ruben Amorim's AC Milan probably wasn't ideal. But overall, what have you made of us in preseason?
yeah. I've not seen every game, so I saw the PSG game and I saw the AC Milan game, but I've been looking at clips, looking at Twitter, see what the talk is about, especially our new signings and how we are shaping up. I think overall, it's been pretty good. The preseason, bar the last game against Milan. I feel Santos and Tielemans have feels like they are settling in quickly. Mount was impressive, but again, we know what happened to
Mm.
him again, and we'll probably get
He's
into
made
that
out of
later.
glass.
I know. So,
Yeah.
overall, I am pleased with how the preseason has been. We've importantly, almost all our players have gotten minutes on the pitch, and we only have 1 week to go. So, I am pretty satisfied with how the preseason has been so far. Yeah, what do you all think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, except for that Milan game where I think wingbacks only exposed us, which is funny enough. That's what Amrin was trying to do for the longest time. And then he exposed us with wingbacks in one game. But like you said, I think Santos and Tielemans look like good signings. Still think we need more there, but I think they've gelled in. I really wish Mount can stay fit for one full season because I truly see value in the way he plays. But yeah, overall preseason has been good. And I think luckily, our starting few fixtures are also not too bad. We've got Hull and
Yeah,
I think Ipswich early.
right.
So it's a nice, easy way to get into the season.
Yeah, yeah. That will be a
No,
true
I think
test of challenging. I mean, playing against the bigger teams is it's a one-off game, but to see how we fare against like the smaller sides would be interesting to see. That's like a true test of how we've been training under Carrick over the summer.
no, I think I have another question for both of you. Obviously, like it's been since 2023. So you're finally in the Champions League, so congratulations. So now you have more games to play. Do you think you guys have enough with respect to the squad depth? Because I've been seeing online chatter about Ineos, come on, spend a little bit of their money you have. Do you think that's going to be a cause for concern if there might be injuries across the board, especially in the left back and the striker position?
I think so. I think we are quite thin going into the season if we don't make at least two more signings. Um, given, I mean, heading into the summer, we knew we needed to make like five signings, at least five signings to be, in a position to compete in all tournaments. Last season was a
Mhm.
one-off. We were only in the Premier League, and going into the summer, I think everyone expected us to make like sign three midfielders, one left back, one striker is what I thought going heading into it. And we've signed two midfielders and a goalkeeper. So that's good. But I feel like you said, Rohit, like the left back and striker, especially I don't consider, I mean, unfortunately, the way it is Shaw and Mount, I do not consider them part of the starting 11. I've given up that hope 1 or 2 seasons back. I feel they are unfortunately too fragile to stay fit for a season. So if they are fit, sure, we can play them in the starting 11, but I will not go into a season, trusting them to be our starting 11, in our starting level. So that means we need a left back. we need a striker, and a left winger. Now that, I mean, Rashford is there, he can play a role, and I would think we need a midfielder as well because, yeah, we need to replace Casemiro, Ugarte, and going into this season with so many matches, I think it will be a challenge. So I'm not too confident, uh, given
Uh,
how what our squad is right now. But I do feel we will make two signings, but um, it will be later than I would have hoped. But I do think we'll make two more signings, and at that point, I would feel comfortable at least going in.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that midfield and left back for me. I think striker we can still, find solutions with Mbeumo maybe playing up there, Cunha maybe playing now. If Rashi stays, even he can play in the number 9 position. But midfield, if Andre Santos gets injured, there is nobody there to play that sitting role. Again, Luke Shaw, even though he played 38 games last season, he
Yeah,
can't do a 60-game season. It is impossible. And I do like Dorgu, but I think Carrick likes to play him a bit further forward. So I don't know if he'll use him in that left back. I think if he has to, he will. But Dorgu still like I don't know. I don't know what to expect of Dorgu. He's a bit like unconventional in the way he plays. So I'm like, I like him, but I'm like sometimes like, how is he a footballer also?
he's
Uh,
still young,
I
right?
think
He's still
Mazraoui can
quite
also
young.
play left back. Yeah, he's still young, and there is quality there, but it's just like it's like so unconventional. It's not the most pleasing footballer on the eye,
Yeah,
so I'm like a bit
yeah,
confused. But I think Ineos is not willing to spend the money on Lewis Hall, which I think is sad because he is 21. Is something we could use for basically 9, 10 years, right?
yeah.
And is essentially like another Luke Shaw, hopefully barring the injuries. So I wish we did spend the money. I think they're trying to find like a smarter solution, like a Tielemans and Santos, were, as opposed to just throwing cash at whatever any club asks for us. And in terms of the midfield, I think Baleba was mentioned. I think Kone was mentioned, but again, there's been no chatter about it in the last few days. So unless they come out randomly out of the blue, how the Tielemans signing came, it seems tough that another signing will happen. I also think they were hoping that Ugarte would get sold because then they would use some of that cash, but
Yeah.
the poor guy got injured. So now we don't even have that money. But Shanmukh, what do you made of Ineos in general so far in their 2 years that they've had? Do you like the way that they're operating overall?
I have mixed opinions on it. I mean, firstly, if you look at the manager department,
Mm-hmm.
giving Ten Hag an extension or sacking him, I think in November, that was after the season began, after he won us the FA Cup. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that, I mean, again, the problem comes back to not backing the managers. So sacking Ten Hag and then appointing Amorim, and then we saw how that ended, right? So I think Ineos has a big question mark about, I mean, on top of them, given the decisions they've made at that level of like a managerial and also at a board level. Who was that guy, our director, who had like uh,
Uh, Forgetting his name. He left, right? What's his
Ed
name?
Ed Woodward.
no,
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 no.
no.
Woodward was before that.
This
He
was
was there.
his
Dan
last
Ashworth.
season.
Dan Ashworth.
Yes,
Dan
yes.
Ashworth.
Ashworth.
Dan Ashworth. Yeah, the way things ended there was also quite strange. So it's definitely not a good look on Ineos. But I will give them credit for the profile of signings they've made over the last summer and also this summer. It it does things. It does look like things have started to change, especially not throwing money on big and flashy names
Right.
like we've done over 10 years, but making those smart signings. And some of it is sort of, we don't really have an option given the finances at the club right now. But end of the day, I think they are making signings which are, reasonably priced, but good kind of players who can, who are in it to actually perform for United, but and not just for like just because it's a big club. The players here do seem committed. Like if you look at Mbumo, Lamens, Cunha, Sesko, like
Mm,
I don't remember the
yeah.
last time we had such a terrific summer. Like all the summer signings have done really well. I remember when we signed Sancho, Varane, and Ronaldo. I thought like we can't
We'll
top
win
this
the
someone.
league.
Yeah. Oh my God, I couldn't be more wrong. You know how it's always weird in football when you
Yeah,
sort of expect like the best, and on paper it does look like the best. Like nothing comes out of it, but then you sign a few players you've
yeah,
never heard of. Like we've never heard of Lamens when he came in, and now he's
right.
changed my life. Right. So
Yeah.
it's always interesting that so that way it also signings wise, I have a little more faith. Again, I just hope that they do back Carrick and not be too stringent in their approach to signing players and end up not signing anyone. Because that can hurt Carrick, and I don't want to go through the cycle again. But yeah,
Mhm.
I think signings have been better.
I think Shiv and Shanmukh, I have another question for you guys. Going into the season, like I said before, you guys are going to be playing around 51, 52 games. What do you think is your
Hopefully
realistic?
more than that also.
Oh, what do you think is your realistic target for the season?
Shanmugh,
What
go
do you
ahead.
think? No, you go ahead.
Uh, I think I'd be happy with a good Champions League run. When I say that, as like hopefully get to like a quarters maybe. If you lose to a good team like say a PSG, Madrid, Barca, or something like that, fair enough. But I'd like to see us have a good run in the Champions League. I want those big nights at Old Trafford back. In the league again, just cement top four, similar to like you mentioned for Liverpool. Just keep that top four position. I think we've got a good platform to build on from last year. And of course, maybe one decent cup run out of the two, either the FA or Carabao Cup. Don't want to lose in the first round again. So yeah, if winning a domestic cup and maybe decent runs in the Champions League is probably a good season for us. And of course, top four is essential.
Yeah, I would say the same. But domestic title should be our aim for this season, 100%, and getting into the Champions League. Now, going into the season, I would have not been as confident, but given how all the clubs are going through like a transformation, the season seems like it's wide open. Except Arsenal, I think everyone, City is going through a change. City, Liverpool, Chelsea,
Yeah,
Spurs. I mean, Arsenal look like the only team who are sort of, settled in. So I feel there will be a big gap between first and second place. I think we should get top four. Um, and Champions League, I think, yeah, I would say the same round of 16 quarterfinals is what I expect us to get to. Beyond that would be difficult unless we make some big signings in the coming, January and the summer after. But for right now, I think I would be happy if we get Champions League and a domestic title. Yeah.
right. The other player you briefly mentioned, who's of course made a comeback to Manchester United after his stint at Barcelona, Marcus Rashford. How do you feel about this whole situation? Would you like him to stay, or where do you sit with this?
Yeah, I mean, I would like him to stay because we are not signing a left winger or a striker. I feel, I mean, the way things ended with Amorim, I did not expect, Rashford to play again for United. I thought that was not going to happen, but again, football is interesting. We didn't see this coming, but now he's actually back. And as the days go by, it looks like he will be in the squad for the first game of our season and moving forward as well. I think I'm willing to give him a run of a few games. And I think he likes Carrick. He's worked with Carrick for his debut as well, I think, under Mourinho. So he has a good relationship with Carrick, and hopefully that gets him to, perform and give it his all for the badge, unlike how he was under Amorim. So I'm willing to give him that run of games, but um, I have a feeling he might head out in January unless like he becomes like a big part of our squad and he's scoring like
Mhm.
10, 20 goals this season. I think then he'd stay, but yeah, I'm happy to give him a shot. I mean, I was sort of opposed to it initially, but now seeing that he's being integrated into the squad and sort of Carrick rates him highly to be a
Yeah,
to get the job done, to be a part of the squad, and given our depth in numbers, I feel he might be an important part in our squad. And I hope we get to see a season, I think 22-23 under Ten Hag,
Yeah.
after he came back from the World Cup, scored 30 goals for us. And that was an unbelievable season. I hope we get to see at least some of that Rashford. Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah,
What do you
100%.
think?
I think with Rashford, it all comes down to attitude, right? It's just, and what I like is that this season he has competition. Like when he
Yeah,
was there under Ten Hag and maybe early Amarim, it was just Garnacho who was fighting for his place. That rat is a trash football anyway, so you're always going to beat him. I mean, get ahead of him. But now with Cunha and Dorgu, I think there is more stiff competition,
correct.
especially in
Yeah,
terms of doing your defensive duty, right? Which is what we
right.
always have an issue with Rashford. It's like he doesn't do tracking back, but we see Cunha and Dorgu, they're always doing their defensive duties in every game. So that's something he'll have to focus on. And if he can do that, I mean, he can definitely be dangerous off the bench also, you know.
Yeah,
But Kadak, does Rashford scare you still?
Uh, with Rashford, because he had that stint with Barcelona, and I'm a huge fan of Hansi Flick, right? Because I love his philosophy, right? Because he plays that high line and he goes apeshit crazy with that pressing. What you're seeing right now, even in the friendly against AC Milan when he came on for couple of minutes or we came over for 25 minutes, you could see Rashford hungry to get the ball
mm,
back. Rashford hungry to run back to his position, which I've never seen. Because, like you mentioned, Shiv, Rashford has that problem where he doesn't mark his runner, just like Mo Salah sometimes. But I think he's come back being a lot more like, say, I would say disciplined. He's come back as a disciplined footballer. And dude, anytime, if you have Rashford playing for 30 minutes and if you have, say, if you're 1-0 down, you can bank on him scoring that wonder goal, or you can just bank on him delivering that cross to either Sesko or Cunha. So definitely, man, I think Marcus Rashford is a massive trump card for you guys. I was under the impression Barcelona are going to sign him. So if you have someone like a Rashford to look at on the bench,
Yeah.
Michael Carrick should
yeah,
be licking his lips because that means that okay, I have a prominent striker or a winger coming out to play at least 35, 40 minutes. So it's huge for United when it comes to the Rashford argument. But I have another question with respect to Michael Carrick, right? Because Carrick, obviously, 17 games in the last season, um, knows the club in and out. Do you think if things don't go that well, say, for example, in the first 12, 13 games, you guys have lost 5, 6 games, do you think Ineos, just looking at that track record, do you think they pull the plug or you think they'll stick with him this time around?
Shanmukh, you want to take that?
yeah. That is a good question. I mean, again, I mean, how would they go about approaching this situation? I mean, do they do the same thing they did with Ten Hag and Amorim, or do they want to cut their losses, sack him as soon as possible? I feel um, it's going to be tough. We've not seen Carrick go through that, right? Even last season, it was like a honeymoon run.
Hmm.
It was an unbelievable run, but this time I think they'll definitely give him a full season. I don't think they will sack him midway. I think they will again evaluate at the end of the season. I do believe Carrick has, got the dressing room in order. The atmosphere. I mean, you saw how the players were getting along in the preseason, like behind the scenes in their hotel and stuff. There's a good atmosphere in the dressing room, and Carrick has a big role to play in that. And I think United as a club needs that because it's massive. The pressure is insane. Like unless you have like a strong dressing room where everyone is backing each other and there's a good atmosphere in there, that will help. So
Hmm.
I feel Carrick has done the job, and I had a similar feeling when Solskjaer was our manager. So I feel, at least in terms of the dressing room and the morale, Carrick is a big reason why that will be high, and I feel he can get the job done. Ineos, I don't believe will sack him this season. We'll see how the season ends, and let's say he finishes like seventh, eighth, and no title to his name, and then maybe Ineos will look at their options. But I doubt, firstly, that we would finish so low, and Ineos wouldn't pull the trigger. I believe, at least this season. What do you think, Shiv?
Yeah, I agree with Shanmugh. I think a year for sure, unless things are so bad in December that we're, bottom half of the table or something like that. Apart from that, I don't really see them pulling the plug. I think they'll give him a full year for sure. And I also wish, like Shanmukh said earlier, they backed him a little bit more in this window, considering we made Champions League. The money is there. I don't know. I think they could have backed him a little bit more. There's still some time. I have a little bit of hope, but that would have definitely helped because the midfield depth is not there and everybody knows it. Um, one more central defensive midfielder will make a big difference, in my opinion. But I think he will get the year for sure. And like Shanmukh said, the atmosphere in the camp, I think, is giving United fans a lot of optimism because they seem to be a well-gelled unit. Um, but Shanmukh, you mentioned Bruno is your favorite player. Do you think he's going to have a season similar to last year?
I don't think he'll be breaking his assist record this season or anytime soon. I don't think he'll get to 22. I mean, you never know. I mean, the chances he created last season was unbelievable. I think Bruno has always been like a consistent player in like 7, 8 years. So I do think he will have a good season now. He's been missing penalties in the preseason. So I hope that comes to an end. But I do think he'll have a solid season. And given that he'll have a lot more support from the front three and given that Santos and Tielemans, more importantly, is also there. So, I mean, I feel in a way if Bruno does lesser than last season, it would mean that maybe the other players are taking more of the, you know, pressure and handling responsibility well. So we don't need to be as reliant on Bruno as we've always been. So that might be a good sign. But I do think he'll be an important player for sure, like the most important.
Yeah, as always. I hope that's the case. Kadak, does United scare you though as a Liverpool fan?
Not so much. I think like Shanmukh mentioned, I think all of us are going through a transition phase. I honestly like, from a Liverpool fan's perspective, I'm just scared of everybody. But
Good
mostly
to know.
mostly Arsenal, because I think Arsenal look well settled. I think even yesterday when you watched that Community Shield game,
Oh yeah.
they look crisp. They look like they've just been playing together for a while, and yeah, it's gonna be a long season for all the Arsenal haters like me and you, Shiv, and Shanmukh. I'm hoping you also hate them like how
Yeah.
we hate them, but not really scared. But I feel like with respect to United, both of us are on the same boat with respect to the signings. We want 2 or 3 more signings. It's not happening. There are only talks in the market saying, oh, we want to sign him, we want to sign that. So at this moment, I see both of us in the same place. But if we sign a couple of players and if you don't sign a couple of players, I think you guys will be scared of us.
Are you
Scared
happy with the
is a bit
manager?
of a question about your team.
Are you happy with the manager?
Iriola, yeah,
You know,
100%.
yeah. How's your preseason been, by the way?
I hated Slot, man. You don't understand. Like, I just couldn't watch
Wow.
football. Like, I didn't enjoy the football Slot was playing. I
Yeah.
just kept bashing him. Every pause, Shiv will be like, okay, Rohit, we're talking about Slot. I'll be like, bro, come on, let's do it. Because I hate him. I hate him with all my heart. I think he sucked the living blood out of the club. And with Iriola, I think intensity, man. I think we're playing a
Yeah.
beautiful brand of football, going back to the Jurgen Klopp style, Gengen pressing.
Mm.
It's been fun. It's been fun to watch. Finally, I'm enjoying watching a preseason game. So imagine it's been like 12 months since I last enjoyed a football game. Even yesterday, we were outstanding against Como, pressing,
Yeah.
running. That's what I like. I like to see that aggression.
Yeah.
So it was great, man. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm excited for the season. Like I said in
Nice.
the pod, I don't mind it being a written off season where we just get the philosophy right. But I'm happy. I'm happy with the manager.
Yeah. Shanmukh, so last year, Kadak had a very extremely hot take at the beginning of the season that Liverpool would win the quadruple. I want to know, do you have a hot take this year for us?
Oh, okay, interesting.
It doesn't have to be United related, just generally in the league. Do you have a
Yeah.
hot take about the league?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's see.
Our fellow Liverpool guest, Vishal, said that Xabi Alonso won't be as successful as everybody thinks he will be at Chelsea. That was his
Yeah.
hot take.
I think I guess Spurs would be back in Europe. That would be
Okay.
my guess. I mean, last 2
Europe
seasons
as in
has been.
Europa League or Champions League?
I mean,
Or
definitely
Conference
not
League.
Champions League.
Well,
Yeah,
Okay.
probably Europa, I would think. I mean, it will be a massive jump from where they've finished last 2 seasons. I mean, they've made some brilliant signings at our cost, unfortunately, with Mateus Fernandez and Tonali, and they have De Zerbi, so I think they'll be sort of back in the top six, top seven. Yeah, but I mean, that was sort of expected in like the next few seasons, but I think that would be a big jump for them.
Yeah.
What about
With the amount of
you, Shiv?
investment they've made,
Yeah,
and like, of course, they'll play once a week, essentially, like what we were last year. I
yeah,
think they'll manage to, I think, like you said, get European football for sure, whether that's Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, I'm not sure.
yeah.
But yeah, my hot take, I guess I did it in my predictions, is that I think Liverpool will really struggle this season. When I say struggle, I think I think it's a warm take, maybe not a hot take. I said they'll finish fifth,
Yeah, yeah,
in my opinion. So,
And
yeah.
my hot take, Shiv and Shanmukh, is that Enzo Maresca gets
Uh-huh.
sacked by Fed. I think that's my
Oh,
hot take.
by Feb.
I've seen
oh,
I've
Nice.
seen enough in the Community Shield. I can see it coming. I saw the players look clueless for the first time ever in like 10 years. I've seen a City side look that clueless. So that's my hot take. I hope I'm right, but I don't think it'll be right. But that's why it's a hot take.
but
Yeah, that
yeah,
was crazy, the Community Shield
Maresca gone
last.
in Feb will be amazing.
Beautiful.
It'll be
Yeah,
pretty much deja vu of like how United were post Fergie, because that's about the time David Moyes got sacked by us. So
yeah.
it'll probably be deja vu. I really hope the downfall of Man City is something I want it more than anything else.
That is true. That is true, man. That is very true. A hot take would be someone saying, like a good hot take would be someone saying Arsenal doesn't win the league, and let's say United or a City or a Chelsea or a Liverpool. I mean, is there a
Yeah,
possibility that
anyone
for a
else
Man?
basically.
Shanmukh,
Yeah,
on
anyone
that
else.
page, Shanmukh,
Yeah,
on
that's
that
a good question actually. Who do you think is second favorite? Looking at City's performance yesterday, are they actually
I
second
I
favorites?
know before yesterday's game, I was like City's finishing second, but I saw the game last night and I
Yeah,
was like, okay, maybe it's not City. I would hope it is United. Um, I think
yeah.
I think a hot take I could stand behind with is United, fight it out with Arsenal for the title and then lose at the end.
Okay, fair, fair. I was really hoping you'd go further and say United to win the league.
Oh man, that would be too
Yeah,
hot of a take.
I think
I don't know.
that much confidence we don't have.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
Shanmukh, thank you so much for taking the time out. It's been a lot of fun
absolutely,
chatting with you. We'll try and get you on during the season as well. Hopefully,
absolutely.
in as the season progresses well for us. But
Yeah.
any final thoughts you have?
No, thank you for having me both, Shiv and Rohit. I think I'm really excited. It's been a long break. I feel it's been forever since
Yeah.
we saw the Premier League and then we had the World Cup. So the summer feels really long. And I think we are just 1 week away, literally this weekend. We play our first game. So I am really excited. Can't wait to go catch a screening, watch our first match against Hull. So really looking forward to it. What are your predictions for the Hull game?
I think we should beat Hull. I think they're going to finish bottom of the league. So I think we should win. I'd say 2 or 3-0.
Yeah, I'd say 2-0 too. We are playing away, right? It's not at Old
Yeah,
Trafford.
playing away
Yeah,
first game.
okay.
I think they'll be
Yeah,
up for it, the Hull fans, first game of the season, but I still think we should get the job done.
yeah, yeah, we should. What's Liverpool's first game? Rohit?
we are playing. How can I forget? We are
Newcastle,
playing
Newcastle.
Newcastle away, and
Oh, okay.
Newcastle have a completely new team. Everyone's new in that
I
team, so
know.
it's sad. They've sold everybody there, so
I couldn't
it should
believe
be
it.
an easy game.
Yeah, they've sold like, I mean, Isak left last summer. Then this guy, Barca signed,
Bruno,
Arsenal
Gordon,
signed Bruno. This Barca signed Gordon, and who
Yeah.
else?
Tonali. Tonali's
Tonali.
Tonali.
gone to Spurs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
the spine of that team is gone, essentially.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, even this guy left, right? The manager.
Eddie
Yeah,
Howe.
Eddie Howe is also
Eddie
gone.
Howe
I don't
left.
know who some
Yeah. Who came
forgot
in?
the guy's Josley, something like that. What's his
Some
name?
Hessels or someone starts with
Yeah,
J.
some funky name. I've never heard of him before.
Wow. Okay, that will be an interesting one for Newcastle this season.
Apparently he does something. He apparently he does this thing which Ten Hag used to do. So when in his first press conference, he went and shook every journalist's hand, which
Oh
Ten Hag did.
God.
So I'm getting some Ten Hag vibes from the Newcastle man.
Even someone else did that. Who was Zabi Alonso or someone? I no. Who was that?
No,
Someone else in the Premier League also did that. Uh,
Arne Slot.
no,
Must
I
be
think
Dutch, must be bald.
it was this season. I think I can't quite remember. Anyway, but yeah, we'll see. I don't
Yeah.
think that's going to help.
But yeah,
Uh,
the season's going to be fun. I think United fans going in with a little bit of optimism, of course, a little bit of caution because Ineos have not fully backed us, but
yeah.
it should be a fun season regardless. I'm happy to see United with that Champions League music again. I think that's
Oh
going to be
yes.
fun.
Oh man, it's been a while.
But guys, yeah, we're going to do another preview in a few days to preview Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City a little bit. But yeah, please like, share, subscribe. We're going to post Shanmukh's links down below. Go check out his work, buy some artwork, especially if you're a United fan. He also does some Indian cricket team related artwork. So check that out as well if you're a fan of Indian cricket. But yeah, please like, share, subscribe, and we shall catch you in the next one.
Beautiful. Thank you guys.